What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the weight room. Today, what are we going to talk about?
Today we're going to talk about motivation.
Motivation?
And how to stay motivated and the different types of motivation.
I cannot say motivation. Motivation. I don't know how you're saying that. So, motivation is important, people, because, well, you need to be motivated to do things.
Yeah, if you're not motivated to do it, you won't do it.
If you don't have a reason to get out of bed, you're probably not going to get out of bed. If you don't have a reason to go to work, you're probably not going to go to work. Same thing applies at the gym. If you don't have some sort of motivation, no matter what it be, you're probably not going to go. You're going to come up with excuses as to why you don't need to go.
Right. And I think motivation is kind of sometimes confused with, like, being pumped up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's one type, but there's more to it because you can't just always be pumped up. Sometimes you have to be motivated from within yourself, from certain type of, like, why, you know? What's your reasons, your why?
Yeah.
You see a lot of that now, but it really has to be kind of what's your main objective?
Yeah. When you build the habit of, like, going to the gym, even when, like, your external motivation, your want to do it, your physical goals aren't feeling it that day, your internal motivation steps up to the plate kind of thing. So, like you said, your why is super important. It's like being motivated is like something you look forward to, I think, like you said, and then motivation is going when you don't want to go necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense. Like, people think of motivated and think, oh, I want to do that. But, like, when you have internal motivation, it's like, I don't necessarily want to do this today, but, like, I know that, like, the feeling that comes afterwards is good. So that's your motivation, kind of, the feeling.
So, yeah, you kind of talked about internal. So there's two types of motivation, which are extrinsic and intrinsic.
Right. And I mean, just from the two, X and N, you can probably assume that intrinsic motivation is motivation that comes from within, and extrinsic motivation is motivation that comes from outside factors. So, intrinsic motivation is motivation that you find from just
yourself.
Yourself, and, like, the act of doing it makes you motivated.
Right.
So things like what?
I would say things like your why would be basically anything that you feel or give or get from it or something like that. You know, extrinsic is something where it's like, hey, if you do this workout, you can go do something or get something or have something. Or if you do well on this, you get a sticker. I don't know, but something that someone gives you or you give yourself that is basically an item or something like that.
Right. I think intrinsic motivation has to do a lot with self-efficacy and self-esteem, kind of, because when you're motivated from within, like, you can see your own progress and you can see your own flaws in working out type of thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably without a doubt true that intrinsic motivation over the long term is more sustainable.
Right.
You know, you can't always, it's kind of like how when you're a little kid and you play basketball outside or, you know, at your friend's house and you could play all day and all night, but a professional basketball player, you know, once they get paid for doing something, it almost like ruins the fun and all that stuff of it. And if they aren't getting paid for it, they don't want to do it anymore. And so you have to be careful too of that. So if you're giving yourself rewards for working out or eating right, don't just make them outside rewards, because eventually it's almost like a drug, you know, your reward has to keep getting bigger and bigger for you to keep wanting to do that task.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, if I work out every day this week and I eat healthy this week, I'll have a cheat meal. Well, I feel like one cheat meal becomes 2 cheat meals, you know?
Yeah.
And I also hate the word cheat meals. Like, not to use that word, but to use that word because a lot of people use that word when setting, like, goals for themselves. But I think when you use cheat meals, it's just silly.
Yeah. So
it's not cheating.
That's
a whole nother podcast episode, though.
Yeah. So a cheat meal is an example of an extrinsic motivating factor.
Right.
And an intrinsic, like we said before, is just kind of a why, a reason. So yeah, I think like we said, motivation is important. Even just starting out, I think it's okay to start out with some extrinsic motivation just to get you on the path, and then.
I think a lot of people don't. A lot of people start extrinsically because you have to see something. And it's like extrinsic is more materialistic type of touchy-feely, in my opinion, or like a different look, where intrinsic is like, oh, my health is better. I feel better. Yeah.
Or just doing it for fun, or.
Yeah, because you know it makes you feel good. But I think it's important that people do realize you do have both. And I think it's definitely important that you have both, for sure.
I think there's a back and forth between whether motivation is kind of like garbage or not. I know some people feel that being motivated is almost like, I think what they're referring to is the getting pumped up and like rowdy and some people feel that kind of motivation is more of a waste of time. You know, the real method should be finding a reason to do it and not just getting pumped up about it. I think getting pumped up about it is a good sign to like being excited about, like you want to do it, you want to.
Yeah.
And I think what those people are saying is if you have to get pumped up every time you do something, maybe there's a problem.
Right.
You know? So finding an actual reason outside of just getting pumped up to do it.
It's like certain days, like, oh, I'm like so ready to crush this workout. Like I'm going to lift heavy, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm pumped up on those days.
Yeah.
But then other days, it's like, oh, I'm just going to the gym.
Yeah. I think some people think like getting pumped up externally is almost like fake. Doing that is what?
Like a fake want.
It's like you're forcing yourself to do it. So why are you why are you doing it? And then when you just like dig into why you're doing it, you actually find your why, and then you can not have to get all that every time.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that plays into like how to stay motivated when you're not pumped up. When, you know?
Yeah.
Like how do you, like if people are the type to, oh, well, if I'm not pumped up, I'm not probably going.
Yeah. I think for me, what I found was like, if I'm going to work out and it's like super early, sometimes need that extra push to be like, let's get pumped up. Yeah. Even though I know like I should do it, I still want to feel like a little kick. Yeah. So I'll watch like an inspirational thing, or I'll listen to some music, or I'll do whatever, and then I'll be like, yes, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So like I knew it was always there. It's just like sometimes if it's a tough time and you don't want to do it, it takes a little bit to like dig it out.
Yeah, like sometimes for me when I'm really just like I'm super tired or I just don't want to do it that day, I'll take pre-workout.
Yeah.
Because I have to do it once I've taken the pre-workout.
So it's like
there's no excuse to not go because like my body needs to go.
Yeah.
But I think having a gym partner or having just even support from the people around you really helps with motivation.
Yeah. Or like knowing somebody at the gym or.
Yeah. Like a social aspect to staying motivated is definitely important, whether it's your friends, family, gym buddy, whoever.
Yeah.
Your friends and family should support you and push you. And then your gym partner can keep you accountable, make sure you're there, make sure you're doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And then also just like being honest with yourself and where you're at with your goals. For like intrinsic, like if you're trying to reach a certain whatever.
Yeah.
Staying honest with yourself on where you are can go a long way.
Yeah. I think that's true. Finding finding out where you are can help keep you. It can help keep your mindset like realistic. Like saying, oh, I've only been doing this for a month. I obviously shouldn't be 20 pounds down yet. So I'm not going to get sad about where I am. I'm just going to realize, hey, I've been putting in the work, and let's just say you're trying to lose weight. I've lost 5 pounds. That's a good start. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep pushing it.
Yeah. From being honest with yourself, like ask yourself why, like we just talked about before. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for others? Figuring out your why and knowing your why you're showing up, why you want to do it, why fill in the blank.
Yeah, I think that education is important in that, because once you realize the benefits of doing some type of workout or exercise, then you have more intrinsic whys, You're not just
for sure.
You're not just thinking about what I can eat after I do this. You're thinking, man, this is really going to help, my heart health. And even though I'm only 20 now, and 35, 40 years, that's going to be very beneficial to my quality of life. Right. So just that kind of thing can help increase your intrinsic motivation.
I think that's where sometimes I feel like people our age are so instant gratification, materialistic, where if it's not now, they don't see the benefit for themselves, for others, for anything. Yeah. Like, it needs to be now.
And I think a lot of people, especially that are younger, got away with an unhealthy lifestyle as a, teenager. And
there's a gap of, like, the parent styles and the information that came out as we were growing up versus when our parents were little. Yeah. I think that plays into the way we grew up, definitely.
Yeah. I think...
Not like me and you, like the whole...
Yeah. I think as the generation shift comes and there's a new wave of, our age people having kids, we'll have the same struggles as far as, like, healthy choices and stuff goes, but I think being better informed on, like, obviously the most important ones, like don't smoke while you're pregnant and stuff like that. Even small things like don't drink a lot of soft drinks. I mean, like simple things like that.
I think people even realize now that Gatorades aren't
healthy
for
drinks.
The health halo. We'll have to make a podcast on the health halo. People just enjoy the drink, so they drink it all the time. Yeah. But I think it's just really important that people know the reasoning and the purpose of their food or their drink before overindulging, kind of. Yeah. And taking it at the right time.
Part of that's marketing too, I mean, Gatorade wants you to think that it's a healthy drink. Right. So that's what people tend to think. So, I mean, just kind of understanding that.
I also think it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of people are going vegan and vegetarian and pescatarian, and is that how you say it? Pescatarian?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure what that is, but what is that, like only eating?
Nicole does it. Shout out to Nicole. Hope you're listening. And she only eats fish and eggs. Okay. But she could be kind of like lenient on it. So I don't know for sure. I just know it's like no like chicken and red meat. Yeah. But I think it'll be interesting to see those type of diets. When people raise their kid in those diets, what will their kids grow up and do? Yeah. How a lot of people, like, we grew up eating meat, and then you see people transition to vegan and vegetarian. Will people do the opposite, or will they stick with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing, just because a lot of kids like to rebel and do different things.
And if, like, when their parent made the switch, they made the switch because... it's healthy.
Of information.
But are they going to raise their kid and, like, explain why they're eating not, like, will you think to explain, we're not eating meat? Or will it just be so autopilot type of thing, habit, that you don't even think to explain to your kid, we don't eat meat because? Yeah. I think it'll be super interesting to see that.
I think probably the explanation will still be there for a while because it's not a social norm. So when a kid goes to school and doesn't eat meat, they're going to get picked on, and then they're going to come home and say, well, why don't we eat meat? And then that's where the conversation's going to come from. Yeah. Maybe in, let's just say, 100 years, if veganism becomes the new norm, you wouldn't have to explain, because you don't explain now why we do eat meat. Right. We just do it. Right. And there's a whole thing. Well, for one, I read this book about veganism, and then I was listening to this podcast, and it wasn't about veganism at all, but it was about, like, AI technology taking us over and harvesting our bodies as, like, energy and making us do all this stuff, almost like how we treat cattle and pigs and chickens. And it kind of just like really got me thinking about how we do take for granted eating animals and how we treat animals poorly a lot of times in the process. And
Yeah.
it just got me thinking about, I mean, it's a far stretch of an idea, but realistically it could happen. You know, robots and artificial intelligence could become more powerful than we are, and not that they would eat us, but they could, you know, basically enslave us and kind of treat us how we do treat animals and see us as pests. And it's just kind of an interesting viewpoint when you become when you're not anymore the most powerful thing on earth.
Yeah.
What you're vulnerable to, and
Right.
kind of you're at the mercy of the most powerful thing, and at that point that's us. And it's just a very far tangent for motivation, but it just got me thinking about that whenever you talked about veganism. So just a thought.
Just a thought.
Just a scary thought that keeps you up at night.
Just a thought for your brain. Back to motivation, maybe.
Yeah.
There's just a whole lot that's so unknown about technology that's... Anyways, discipline is super important.
I mean, discipline, yeah. Jocko Willink, discipline equals freedom. You ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, he has a podcast. He's a well-known guy. But his whole thing is when you have discipline and do the things you know you should do, it unlocks a world to let you do whatever you want to do, because you're not held back from how you feel anymore. You can do anything, even if it scares you, even if it's however it makes you feel, you can do those things because you have the discipline to know that it's what, at the end of the day, that's what you should be doing, and it'll let you achieve so much more because you know, like, hey, I'm not feeling getting up early today and working out, but I'm having the discipline to do it. So then that gives you the freedom to become fit, and then maybe you could, I mean, who knows, like you could become a world-class athlete and like become a millionaire off of a sponsorship. You know, just small things like that can continually build and build because you have discipline to continue to do those small things.
Right. Like you are responsible for yourself.
Right.
Nobody else and nothing else can make you want it more than you have to, like, more than you.
Yeah, and nobody can do it for you too. Like nobody can, even if, yeah.
So I just think it's super important that you realize that your discipline sets you up for success, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How disciplined you are in any aspect of your life. Like, do I want to wake up at 7 a.m. most mornings? Absolutely not. Especially if I'm just literally getting up to go upstairs. Like, it's not like I have to go to work right now.
You don't have a thing you need to do.
Most people would say, Holly, you have no reason to be up at 7 a.m. Well, to you, I don't have a reason. But to me, I have tons of reasons to be up at 7 a.m. My self-discipline says, get up.
Yeah, just find your why.
Yeah, seriously, as cliche as it is right now, find your why. Your why is going to take you farther than anything else, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Anything else you want to talk about?
I think that's
Global warming.
Yeah. I think today's challenge should be to just reflect on why do you do what you do, whether you work out, whether you don't. What is your why in life? Or you can break it down to what is your why as to why you go to work. Why do you work out? Why do you wake up? Why do you watch Netflix? Just think of a why for something broad or specific. Don't care.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, subscribe, or I think it's follow on there, but please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a rating. Write something about us. Either one or both is great. You can now find our podcast on YouTube. If you search The Weight Room
faces
and our names, Daniel and Holly. And yeah, you'll probably find it.
Find us on Instagram if you have any questions. You want to talk about motivation. You want to talk about why. You want to talk about blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I love talking.
Yes.
Holly with 2 Y's, Vols, V-O-L-Z. Holly with 2 Y's, Vols.
And you can find me now at Daniel.personaltraining. And yeah, you'll find me. And you can just, ask me for the podcast link.
Or anything else related.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Ask me my favorite color.
Orange.
My favorite season of How I Met Your Mother. Probably 2 or 3, realistically.
I don't think anybody asked yet.
Yeah, but I just wanted to put it out there. And we're out.